Hi, welcome to Let's Talk. Today I'm joined by Louise, who is a volunteer coordinator at Barnardo's Dundee. Hi, Louise.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me today, Louise.
Right, thank you for having me.
Welcome. So, Louise, we're going to talk about obviously volunteering. So can you tell me, please, what is the need for volunteers with Barnardo's?
I suppose with the need for volunteers, there's sort of two aspects to it where I think for us, when we have volunteers, they're able to help complement what the service is doing. They're able to sort of reach more individuals, more children, young people, more parents and that. So actually the roles of volunteers almost sort of helps to complement what the service is trying to do. So that support is absolutely vital and adds to, the overall team. But I think as well, what to sort of recognize is what volunteers can also bring in. So actually, when you're getting volunteers, volunteers will have their own set of skills, knowledge and experience. So actually that kind of fits in as well. So it's, like I said, it's kind of working as, as a team and that. So yeah, definitely it's that two-way thing. It, benefits the service, it benefits the families, the children, the young people, but hopefully then for volunteers as well, it benefits them for them, using their sort of knowledge and experience as well.
Definitely, because we've all got that level of lived experience with different things, haven't we? So that's it. People might think, well, I don't know if I could do that, but if you've already done that type of role within your own life set, then you're helping other people deliver obviously what they're looking to achieve too, aren't you?
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I think, people volunteer for different reasons and that. And, you've got some that will have that experience and they're going, right, I've got this set of skills, so I'm wanting to, maybe somebody's retired or, but then you've also got people where, it's maybe quite new to them, but they love working with children, young people. They like just, having that level of fun and just getting to the child's level. So, to me, so it's that nice balance between sort of people having different sort of skills and experience and that. But, even if somebody's not got that experience, it's not a barrier. It's just, have they got that motivation and wanting to sort of make that difference? So, yeah, I think it's great what volunteers, I think time's absolutely valuable. So whatever people can sort of help with, obviously for the service, that's much appreciated.
Good. Now, could you tell us about then maybe about past experience then, what type of benefits it's had on young people and families and the volunteers themselves?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose always the sort of benefits I think that volunteers get is one, that experience, especially for a majority of volunteers, they're looking at, going to college, going to uni, or having complete change of career. So that kind of hands-on experience, working with families, children, young people. So that's those benefits, as well as, being part of an organization, learning new skills, training, development, and also just meeting other people, like, a bit of a community when you're doing sort of group and that as well. So I think, to me, for volunteers, there's a lot of reward and benefits. And for some, it's just that they're like, I've got the time, I like working with kids. So, for me, it's whatever reasons that people looking to volunteer, there's many benefits that they can get. I think for children and young people and families, it sort of varies because, each family, each child and young person has their own needs. So, we look at it from a kind of an individual approach. So for some, it might just be the case of having that quality one-to-one time, could be actually taking them out in the community and doing different experiences. It might be that they've not had a chance to do these different experiences. It might be for parents, being able to get a bit of like short break care, to go and do the shopping, or maybe spending time, with maybe one of the other siblings. And I suppose it's about improving, well-being, confidence, but actually just having that quality time that sometimes I think people, you might not see that it's gone from, 1 to 5, like, oh, wow, that's a huge difference. But actually, I think a lot of the time it's the small things that make the difference. And, and I've heard before from volunteers when they can see the confidence of a young person, growing and things like that as well during sessions. And that's a lot of it, relationship building as well. Yeah. But then group work, there's maybe different children that attend each day, but then actually that support somebody's providing on that day, in that setting, allows that child or young person to engage with peers, to, like I said, have that quality one-to-one time within a group setting, or actually just getting involved and just doing different sort of activities and that. So I think it benefits, to me, I think benefits children, young people and families, and depending on the roles and stuff. And I think it naturally benefits volunteers as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very positive all round, isn't it?
Yeah,
For obviously people in that role and obviously people receiving that as well. So good.
yeah,
So
definitely.
what volunteer opportunities are currently available with yourselves then, Louise?
So I cover Tayside, so that's Dundee and Perth and Kinross. So we have a few roles that are available. So, for example, Perth and Kinross, we have befriending, which that could be befriending a child, a young person, up to the age of 18. And then we sometimes will have roles supporting parents as well.
Okay.
In Dundee, we have a few more opportunities available. So we've also got befriending. So once again, that can be that one-to-one with a child or young person up to the age of 18 or with a parent, but majority of the roles are usually with children, young people for befriending. But we've also got roles like group work. So over our school holidays, we run the school holiday activity days. So that's usually over the April, summer and October. We have some partnership working, which we've got volunteers helping out on a Friday lunchtime in a school setting. Other group work can come up as well at the office where we've run like Saturday sessions and that as well. So there's plenty of opportunity for volunteers to get involved. There's other roles where we look for volunteers. So that could be like our sit-in service, which provides respite for parents and carers to go out of the home setting while volunteers are supporting a child or children within the home setting as well.
Okay.
We've also got volunteers that help with the gardening. So at our main base in Dundee, we've got volunteer gardeners that help with that. So then when when children, young people are using the garden, that looks very nice. And we've also got roles like, even helping like with driving and transporting children, young people from groups back to home and home to groups and that as well. So there's quite a lot of opportunities available.
Yeah, brilliant and very varied as well to suit everybody, isn't it? It could be anything, like you say, gardening. If somebody's got an interest in doing the gardening, well, that might be quite nice for them to be involved in something like that to, like you say, to make a nice setting for a family and things. So yeah, great.
Yeah, and it's quite, I mean, that's the thing. I think a lot of the time with, with availability and things like that, I mean, you're mostly looking at your befriending opportunities are going to be naturally after school, early evenings, weekends. School holiday activities days tend to run during the day, but we run a couple of sessions. So, and I've got some that obviously do stuff on a Friday because it sits in school hours. So as much as possible, we try to make sure there's enough opportunities sort of to meet people's availability. But normally I find because we've got quite a few opportunities available that, it usually sort of fits into what people have as well for time.
Great. Now, obviously all these opportunities are available. When it comes to obviously the time people commit to these then, Louise, is that something that you discuss together, or could people just come and say, okay, I've got a few hours free these days, is that any help? Is that how it would work?
So normally for us, so we have a bit of an induction process as well. So I usually say to people can take about up to 8 weeks to become a volunteer. So, you put an application online. There's like a couple of meetings, and then we also need to do the reference checks and the PVG disclosure, and there's a little bit of e-learning and face-to-face training as well. So like I said, that can take about up to sort of 8 weeks if everything goes sort of smoothly. Because I know sometimes there might be sort of natural delays and with references and things like that. But for us, I would naturally say, what we look for is at least a 6-month commitment, because like befriender roles, because of the nature of it, you are looking at sort of 6 months. Now, it could be that you do the role weekly for 2 hours, or you can do the role fortnightly for 2 hours. So there is a little bit of flexibility because we appreciate that, people are, working and studying, have other sort of family commitments. So I would probably always say that if somebody's got at least 6 months that they can offer. Same with group work and that as well. But that one, like I said, if you're doing activity days, if you're free during the day in April time, and you're free both Mondays and that's your commitment, then you might be free again in the summer to then go, right, hold on, I can do Monday week 1, I can do Tuesday, Wednesday week 2. So there is that flexibility as well. But I think for us, it's just as long as there's sort of that commitment, just to make sure, especially with the befriender role, that I would always say 6-month sort of commitment for that one. And in general, even for like sit-in service and group work, a 6-month commitment.
Yeah, That makes sense, so doesn't it? I mean, like you say, you're building up relationships with people, aren't you? So, and then if you get to know them well and they get to know you, and you don't want them to be then, oh, well, I'm going to go now. That's be kind of done. So you understand why that would be the case. So,
yeah, and I've had it before where some volunteers have absolute this amazing availability specifically over the summer. So actually, if they're able to go, right, I can do 3 days a week for 6 weeks, that, and maybe that they're going, because I've got a few students from overseas and that as well. And, so I'm like, to me, I'm going, oh, right, that's absolutely fine, because you've still got a really solid commitment. We always need as much help as possible when it comes to what we're running, because as we were saying at the start, having volunteers as part of a service is so important. So just balance it out. It's different if somebody said, I've only got 2 months. I wouldn't think, let's match them to befriender role, because that's not fair on the child. But you might go, well, hold on, we're running that group during term time on a Friday. So are you free on the Fridays for at least that 6-8 weeks? So it's always just finding the balance. But I think me with volunteers, you sort of need to treat each volunteer as an individual, and then look at sort of, what sort of works for them, but also what works for the service as well.
Good. Well, that sounds great, Louise. So if people were interested to find out a bit more, or they look to become a volunteer, what would they do?
So it's all mostly done online. So what I'd recommend is if people go onto the Barnardo's website, and then if they search under volunteering, it will come up with, putting in like your postcode or your area. So when putting in for, if it's Dundee or Perth and Kinross, it should show you, different sort of roles that come up. So my roles are sort of listed. So they're all sort of individual, like befriending, group work, gardening. But what I'd always sort of recommend is if people put an application but they want to do more than one role, just complete one application, and then at that induction meeting we're able to start going into what roles are you interested in. And then because it doesn't matter if you put in 5 applications, we just need the one to then be able to explore as we sort of go through the induction. But I'd say it's all sort of done online, and that we're putting in an application. Once I pick up the application from the individual, I then would start that induction process of, getting to know the person, looking at the references and PVG and things like that.
Good. Okay. And we'll pop all those details in the comment section below. So there'll be the web address for Barnardo's. So you just click on that link and visit there, and then follow the information that Louise has said.
Yeah, because I'm happy if anybody wants to contact me directly as well, but I'm not sure then if it's easy just put in the Barnardo's website. But I'm also happy if people want to contact me directly through email or my work phone if they're wanting to just get a little bit more of information before sort of applying. So I'm absolutely fine to contact me.
We'll pop those details in as well then, Louise. People could have got a few different options anyway.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you.
Perfect. Well, it sounds like lots of different opportunities that's available for people to get involved, Louise. We all know that volunteering is such a benefit to organisations in more ways than one. So if you do have some time and you're looking to get involved, please visit the channel and get in touch with Louise.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay, Louise, nice to see you.
You too.